Hi, welcome back to the Art of Frosting. I'm Liz Larson, always here with some cake decorating basics. Today I want to show you this funny little cake. It's from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, I'm not exactly sure which character this is. I did read the book, it's been a long time ago and I don't remember. But this little character is from that book. We're going to use some techniques including smoothing and some candy melt techniques. So let's get started. So I've got my 10-inch pan here and some parchment, and I'm just going to make an outline of it so that I can get my mouth the right shape and size with the candy melt. So this mouth is really big, it's more than half. So you just want to come in, give yourself your outline, and don't worry if it's not exactly right on the first pass. Go ahead and adjust it a little bit, and then we're just going to go ahead and fill in with our black candy melt. So I'm just using a parchment bag here, and I'm just going to cut the tip out about a size 12, maybe a little smaller than that if you were going to use a figure piping tip. I'm just going to drop a line all the way around here to get my shape. Now I have actually put a little bit of shortening with my candy melt so I get just a smoother texture. It'll harden up just the same, but it just doesn't smooth out quite enough for me when it originally melts. I know you can also use some paraffin, some pre-made things, but this is the way I like to do it. Okay, now I'm going to take my offset spat and go ahead and just fill that in. Don't be afraid to go ahead and move your parchment around. Try to get a nice even, and you probably want to make 2 of these just in case you break one. You can put it to the side or put it in the freezer. Either way works just as well. Don't worry about too smooth on this side because we're actually going to use the other side for our cake. So we need some arms to come in like this. We're going to have him covering his face. So what I did was I cut some parchment to get an idea of how big I need. And I'm going to go ahead and use that as just a little bit of a guide to make my arms. So just put it on here and just give yourself a couple of lines like so, just for length. I again have my parchment bag that I'm going to cut the tip out of like so, and just come on in and drop your line, squeeze, make it as even as you can. Got a lump. Okay, when you do that, you got to come back in here. There you go. I'm going to give him a little elbow and come back down. And you definitely want to make 3 or 4 of these. Use the best one. Next we want to make a little hand, so a thumb and fingers, and I'm using the same kind of a motion that I would use to pipe a shell. So squeeze, let it build and release, squeeze, let it build and release. Got another lump. And make yourself a few of these so you have extra. So I've got my 10-inch round here. It's 1 single layer torted, and I normally do this the other way around, so this rounded side would be in the bottom, but it just turned out that this little bit of roundness is exactly what I need, and I'm not going to have to sculpt it. If you need to sculpt, you just take your paring knife around the edge here, cut it at an angle, and you get that nice rounded edge. I'm just going to get a quick layer of icing on with my quick icer. You guys have seen me do this hundreds of times. Just a couple of little reminders. Put on 1 thin layer, 1 even layer. Do your top first. I'm going to use an offset spat. See how I'm turning the turntable? And not the spatula. Get it down to the sides. And you're going to use this excess just as a little crumb ice. Then we'll go ahead and finish getting this icing on. I'm going to use our smoothing tip just to smooth out these edges. This is a piece of parfait strip, or we can also use the edge of a plastic bag. I'm going to use the parfait strip because I just happen to have one. You bakers or decorators in a shop will have parfait strips laying around. You home decorators will want to use the edge of the plastic bag, and it works great too. So next, I'm going to go ahead and put on our mouth. Get it centered there. And we are going to drop a line around it with our green. So don't worry if your edges are not perfect, that's okay. You can also trim the edges with a knife, that's fine too. So I got a number 124 rose tip here. You could use a 104 as well. And I am just going to give him some teeth. And I want to center the first one. So I'm going to give him the first one like this. So basically we're making teeth that look a lot like a flower petal. Try to make them just a little bit more square. And there you go, there's teeth. And now I've got a number 12 figure piping tip that I'm just going to go make a thick line around the edge like this. I'm taking my little piece of baggie here, and I'm taking just at the edge here and just blending it in ever so lightly. Just the edge. Just a real light touch all the way around. As I'm working around this, I find that if I stick my finger in it here in the crease and push just a little harder, I'm getting a much smoother edge. So give that a shot. You're definitely going to have to work this a little bit. This cake is normally done in fondant, so it's a little harder to get it smooth, but with this technique and just a little bit of finesse, you can get it pretty smooth. So use that middle finger and kind of just push it down in there as you move your turntable. You can see we're getting a pretty smooth edge there. Okay, you might have to adjust a little bit, working with some funny angles there. Clean up your icing just a little. There you go. I'm going to come around the side here and just fill in just a touch, just a dot right there and right there. And then around the base, I'm going to give it a big thick shell border. I'm using my number 12 here. I want a nice smooth. This is a number 12 figure piping tip. Okay, our last bit is a big red tongue. I've got a number 12 figure piper here, and you can see I'm letting it build. And come down. And one more side here. Let it build. And come down. Blend it into the other side. There you go. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this funny little character. This is a hard one. I know that it looks really simple, but to make a cake that's supposed to be made out of fondant, out of icing, and make it smooth is kind of tough. So be patient with yourself. This one took me longer than it shows on camera, longer than we had time for. But I just took my time. I continued to smooth. I used the freezer technique. Now, if you want to really learn how to do this technique, I'm going to attach at the end my daughter Leah's wrecking ball. It's a whole cake smooth like this. So you'll enjoy that. Anyway, always, you can subscribe. It's free. You can find me at The Art of Frosting on Facebook. You can find me at www.theartoffrosting.blogspot.com on the blog. We share all kinds of cakes that we're not necessarily doing videos for. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you all again soon. Lots more to come.